Hey YouTube, Israel here with another video. This is going to be a survivalism video, and the topic today, well, it's going to be a show and tell of different knives for survival uses. These are knives of all different sizes, which you might find useful for including in different survival kits for different tasks, outdoor survival arena. All right, and we're going to start with small knives and work our way up. All right, now with survival, you might not necessarily need only one knife. If you have the luxury of carrying more than one, you might need different knives for different tasks. Just as with firearms, you use a shotgun for a different task than you use your handgun, etc. All right, so let's get started with some knives. All right. First of all, these might be a little bit of a surprise. Okay, these small knives, but my one rule I have is that if I have a knife, a blade, which is useful to me around the house or in the kitchen or in my backyard, around the yard, or in my garage, that knife is probably also going to be useful to me in a survival situation. Okay, so let's start with the smallest, cheapest knife. This is simply a utility razor. All right, it's a box cutter, and looks like that, and the razor blade is right there. Okay, and the purpose of this is to save the edge on your other knives. All right, never waste or wear down the edge on your bigger, more important knives. When you have a small task that this can handle, just use this, okay? Then you won't have to try and resharpen your knives in the middle of a survival crisis, okay? So just a $1 or less box cutter can save the edge on your other knives. This knife right here is a simple paring knife. I just always find myself using this in the kitchen for small tasks, for cutting up, eating oranges and things like that. All right, so again, if I find it useful in daily life, I will find it useful in a survival situation. And this is simply a bargain type steak knife. And again, I find myself using this to eat at meals all kinds of different foods. It'll cut steak. It's very sharp with these serrations, okay? And I would use it for some of the same things in the field that I use it for at a dinner table, okay? And I'm very familiar with this knife. I use it, sometimes every day, okay? And I know it works, all right? So those are just some cheap knives that you would consider. All right, moving on up to some folders. The Ganyana Lite by Blade Tech. This is a $22 item. I reviewed this knife. Basically, it's AUS-8 steel, a nice blade, small length. And that bright safety orange handle is great for survival situations. If you drop it, you will be able to find it again. Okay, very functional blade shape, a nice sweep to the blade. All right, great little knife to just throw into a survival kit. For $22, you can afford to just put it there in case you ever need it. All right, here, we'll start a new section with the folders. Now, here we have a Havalon folding scalpel. All right, see that? And these are available at the Sportsman's Guide, you all know them, as well as at Knife Center, okay? Havalon folding scalpel knife. And that scalpel blade can be replaced. You can actually order a pack of 50 of these blades and replace it whenever it gets dull. You would put this in the first aid portion of your survival kit, and you would use this to clean out wounds, to open up a wound so that you can disinfect it to prevent infection, okay, and just cut away dead skin, dead tissue. And you could also use it for skinning purposes on smaller prey. All right, those go $20 or $30, I believe. So there's your Havalon. Here, let's open them up. All right, here's another folder. The Gerber Metolius, which is actually a river, I believe. I forget what state it's from. This knife goes for about, I believe it was around $35, $40 maybe. You know, I have to be honest with you, as a knife collector, this knife makes me cringe, okay? This cheesy two-tone handle, ugly. This light gray coating of the blade, it's just very ugly. It's certainly not a collectible blade, but I have to be honest, when I really need to actually cut something, I often come to this blade because that belly there, it just has a lot of cutting power. All right, and the large clunky handle is actually good when you're holding it, okay? So as a collectible, this thing, you know, it gets a C-, but as an actual functional knife to actually survive with, I gotta admit it, I use it. All right. Oh, and you know, I know the Metolius is a river, but if you ask most people what that is, they'd say it's probably something you have to go to the doctor for. All right. So even another reason why, yeah, this knife is better used than it is talked about or seen, okay? So the Metolius. Here's a very famous survival folder, the Rat 1 by Ontario Knives, all right? Full flat ground blade, drop point, very functional. Most good survival knives favor the drop point tip design, okay? These go for about $30. There we go there. And the Kbar Dozier. Now there are several lengths and variations of the Dozier. This is a larger one. All right, I believe these go for around 40 or 45. And it's a back lock, which is simply a lock back where the button is down here. Very thin, which is all the better for putting inside a little survival kit and fitting it. And again, a drop point, very functional. At partial serrations, you know, usually I like plain edge, but for a pure survival knife, those serrations give you more flexibility, more options, and you know, when the plain edge gets worn down and destroyed by use, the serrations are still going to be fairly good at cutting with a sawing motion, okay? So, the Dozier. All right. And Opinel Knife. This is Opinel knives are famous in France. It's basically the French version of a lockback or a pocket knife. It's just a universal knife over there. This is very interesting because it's about a $15 knife, but it's incredibly functional, incredibly lightweight. You basically turn this ring okay, to open it like a slip joint, and then you turn that ring again to lock it. It's full flat ground, extremely sharp. This handle is extremely lightweight. It feels almost not quite balsa wood, but almost like bamboo. Okay, Opinel, and again, a $15 knife, 4-inch blade. You're gonna get a lot of use out of an Opinel. And again, it's kind of like it's a very slight clip point, but very drop point-ish. Okay, there's your Opinel folder. And they come in different sizes. Here's a smaller Opinel. All right. And the last folder we have here, cold steel pocket Bushman. These go for $25. The older models had a mechanical defect, but the newer models have repaired that defect, and the newer models are good for $25. A large blade, full flat ground, and you can do a lot with this. All right. Okay, and that's it for the folding section.